Hey, good morning. Chillie here with Chillie's Cruises. Good to be back at the farm and back doing what I normally do after a lovely week in the Bahamas on a cruise. There's nothing better. And it was a great time for all of you that have asked. I had a wonderful trip. A couple things I did differently this time. It's the first time I've ever done a solo cruise. I was a little not worried, but wasn't real comfortable with that at first until I got there. And actually, when I got to Orlando Airport and went out and got on the bus to take me over to Port Canaveral, I happened to be the first person to get on the bus. The second person that got on was a gentleman from Wichita, Wichita John, who we might even see him on one of our broadcasts one morning. But anyway, Wichita John asked if he could sit in the seat next to me, and I said, sure. And we chatted, of course, all the way over and became friends and ran into each other almost every day on the cruise. And from then on, I was fine. I actually met more people and had more fun going solo than I did with a partner in the past. So I enjoyed that immensely. Good trip. A lot of fun. I loved the Norwegian Sun. Great ship. So anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to tell. By the way, so a couple people asked how Brat the Cat did while I was gone. Well, Brat the Cat, despite the fact when I got home late Saturday night, tried to convince me that he was starving to death. And I knew that my niece had fed him 2 hours before that, that he was lying like a snake. But Brat the Cat is fine. He's out prowling around this morning. He's liable to come in and join us at some point. 24 years old. We just let Brat the Cat do whatever he wants to do, and he yowls and tries to claim that he's starving, but he never is. So anyway, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to cover this morning. So let's get right at it. My lead story today, of course, was about the MSC Meraviglia. It's the largest cruise ship that's ever landed in Manhattan. Arrived yesterday as the Meraviglia has made her entrance now into the U.S. market. It's part of MSC's North American expansion. They have now 4 ships that are sailing in our waters that have been primarily European in the past. But the Meraviglia is the largest cruise ship that will dock in Manhattan, and it's also on a couple of itineraries out of New York. It's going to be the largest ship to ever dock in Portland and Boston, as it's doing a couple New England cruises. New England and Canada cruises before it will reposition to its new home port, which is in Miami. If I remember to do this, I did an interview, Chillie Chats, with Emma Latisse. Wow, that's been 6 months ago now, I guess, when we first announced that the Meraviglia was coming. Emma's been on the Meraviglia twice, and we did a little chat with her. Sweet lady. I'd love her to death. But anyway, if I remember, I'll put the link to that video in the description of this. You can go back and take a look at that if you want. The Meraviglia is it's just an awesome ship. I've not done an MSC cruise. It's one of the things I'm looking to do on my next one. By the way, folks, I'm probably, with my scheduling here, with helping my niece with her pet sitting business and her travels, it's probably going to be the end of January or 1st of February before I can get away to go on another cruise. And I plan to do so somewhere in that area. And one of the things I'm looking at is the MSC ships. I mean, obviously, I still look for bargains anytime I can. But anyway, I'll put a link to the interview with Emma Emma, of course, has the group Cruising Isn't Just for Old People, and our friend Bonnie that comes. Matter of fact, Bonnie's here. Good morning, Bonnie. Bonnie's one of the folks that works on Emma's website. Cruising Isn't Just for Old People. She lets us on or keeps us from getting on or whatever. But anyway, she's just a delight. I hope one of these days to do a cruise with her. She's fabulous. Brat the Cat's decided that he wants to do a cruise with Emma too. He liked Emma too. He got to meet Emma before. She also has a cat. So we got a yowling cat here this morning. Okay, getting on with the other story, because I do have a bunch of things to cover this morning. Let's talk about weather. Currently there are three. They're not even depressions yet, but three low pressure systems in the Atlantic worth watching. One is out in the middle of the Atlantic. It's the most likely to develop into anything. And of course, the first step is to become a cyclone or a tropical cyclone disturbance. Or I never can keep straight up all the terminologies that they use. But anyway, there's one out in the basically square in the middle of the Atlantic, which technically could affect us if it does develop. We'll just have, it's worth watching here for the next few days. There's also two low pressure systems. One's over South Florida down in probably the Miami area. And then there's one right off the coast of like pretty much off the coast of the North Carolina, South Carolina meeting point there. These are not likely to develop into anything horrendous, but they both could possibly provide some currents and heavy wave action up and down the eastern seaboard for the next few days. It's just worth being aware of that. Of course, the major story on weather, thankfully, is not on our side of the world, but over in Japan, where a huge storm is heading toward Japan. I thought I had some information pulled up on that, and I don't see it right at the moment. But anyway, there's a big storm heading toward Japan, supposed to hit possibly this weekend. So if you're in Japan or planning on going that way, you definitely want to look at your weather situation over there. Okay. Couple other stories to get to that have been on the news in the times that I have not been here. Passengers aboard the Norwegian Spirit are in the middle of a disaster as far as they're concerned. It's a 14-day cruise over in Europe. They sailed out of Southampton. I ran into problems almost immediately. In fact, even before the passengers boarded, the itinerary had experienced its first change. The first port was supposed to be Amsterdam, and they canceled it and switched it to Le Havre. Then, with unpredictable weather and rough seas, they had all kinds of changes, and they had to cancel ports. And this happened numerous times on this 14-day cruise. And finally, all the passengers got up in arms and had a big meeting in the atrium and were demanding refunds. And it seems to me it was all weather related. I'm sorry, folks, if you're on a cruise, sure, I hate missing out on things because of weather. That's not the cruise line's fault. I mean, they're trying to do the best they can do under bad situation. This is one time that I really don't fuss at the cruise lines, because I really think their heart's in the right place, even though those of us that have paid for the cruise don't like it. but it comes with the territory, folks. You get rough seas and bad weather, you don't want to go sailing through that kind of stuff, especially if you're going into port and you've got rough seas and bad weather. And over in a lot of the European ports, you got a tender in. You want to be on a tender boat and high seas and rough? No, not me. That was just like this cruise I just came back on. We didn't get to go to Freeport. Well, we didn't get to go to Freeport because Freeport got wiped out by the hurricane. That's not the cruise line's fault. So, yeah, the Spirit folks are all up in arms and demanding refunds and stuff. And I have a feeling that they're probably not going to be satisfied by the cruise line. But this is one I'm probably going to side with the cruise line on that one. Kind of on a better side of things, Caribbean cruise port in St. Kitts down there in the Eastern Caribbean. St. Kitts has always been an interesting stop for me. I did notice my friend Bruce cruises with Bruce is doing a group cruise next December for his audience. And one of the places they're going is St. Kitts. That's a nice port. It's a beautiful Caribbean port. They're in the process of building a second pier there. They've already done over 1 million passengers this year without having the second pier, and the second pier is almost complete. So they're figuring the numbers are going to considerably go up on that. They've spent about $48 million on the new pier in St. Kitts at Port Zante, which is on Basseterre Bay. It's about 90% complete and should be opened in the next month or so. So St. Kitts getting a new cruise port. Good for them. The Caribbean islands, however you want to say that, they do well with the cruise lines. Obviously, many of them, that's their main source of income. St. Kitts is probably one of those. But St. Kitts, it's a neat island to visit. So good for them. The Carnival Sensation a couple days ago was delayed, departing Key West due to some issues with a burst pipe and air conditioning. The Fantasy Class cruise ship was delayed over the weekend. According to passengers on the sailing, the ship suffered issues, including a burst pipe, which then caused problems with the air conditioning. They had to reposition many of their guests, and it caused a big mess. Some of the guests were forced to sleep around the ship as it was too hot to stay in their cabins due to no air conditioning. The Sensation ended up staying later in port so the technicians could make repairs on the burst pipe and the air conditioning, and then they got on their way. So again, folks, it's a situation you don't want to see, but it happens when you're on a ship sometimes. I've always looked at it that I try to look at things on the positive side. I'm not going to let a negative ruin a cruise. Look for the best of things, folks. Don't look for the worst. None of us like to have the negative things, but they're going to happen. So make the best of it. Still enjoy your vacation. More information has come out on the new terminals being built in Miami. As you know, Miami is considered the cruise capital of the world. I don't know if that's true or not, but a lot of people sail out of Miami. A little sip of coffee this morning as my throat's a little dry. But literally millions of passengers go through the port of Miami. 22 different cruise line and 55 cruise ships go through Miami each year. New terminals are being built by a bunch of folks. Norwegian Their new cruise terminal B will open in early 2020. Carnival has been approved for a complete renovation and major expansion of Cruise Terminal F, which will become capable of supporting operation of their new XL class ship, clearing the way for the sister ship to the Mardi Gras when it is delivered in 2022 and will be home ported there. MSC is opening a terminal that will handle 2 humongous ships at the same time. And also they're moving their headquarters to Miami. They're spending $300 million there. So they're serious about it. Virgin Voyages, the new cruise line, is putting in Terminal V. It's expected to open in 2021 and cost about $180 million to build. And Disney Cruise Line has been approved for a terminal, and there's no dates yet on that one. So Miami is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as long as they can find room for more terminals, I guess. And hopefully they get better in the way they handle people as well. Celebrity Cruise Line has recently added a surcharge, and this kind of stinks, for passengers who selected a complimentary beverage package as a promotional booking perk. Their passengers let passengers choose from free extras that include things like onboard credit, prepaid gratuities, and even the classic beverage package. However, the beverage package as a perk is no longer entirely free. Effective October 10th, that's the day after tomorrow, all passengers who choose the perk will be charged $14 per day per person. So that it doesn't sound like much of a perk to me at $14 a day. Although, if it includes alcohol, that's another thing. Boy, I was surprised at the price of drinks, of alcoholic drinks on Norwegian this time. Of course, I drink bourbon, which I talk about bourbon a lot. Good bourbon, which I normally drink, was like $19 a drink if you're buying it. I do not have an alcohol beverage package because I know by the time you add the gratuities on, it just gets outrageously expensive. And I was more intent on doing videos and stuff on the cruise, so I did not buy the classic beverage package. So the first bourbon drink I bought the first day on the cruise was $19, and I said, "Whoa, that's hell! I'll go broke drinking bourbon at $19 a drink." So the next one I ordered was rot gut bourbon, which I hate rot gut bourbon, but I ordered, and it was $11.90 a drink. And I thought, mercy. So I ended up I enjoyed some Bloody Marys out by the pool in the morning after breakfast. They were $6.90. I don't mind paying $6.90 for a drink, especially as it was a good drink, and they were great Bloody Mary. So I enjoyed that for the week. I had one a couple times, and because most of you know, I'm addicted to Diet Coke. Well, the Norwegians Diet Pepsi, they don't have Diet Coke. So I did buy the soda package, which was like $47 or something. But I could drink all the sodas I wanted. So I drank, this cruise, I drank mostly Diet Pepsi. And that was fine. I don't have to drink a bunch of alcohol and have a good time. So I'm going to have fun no matter what. But anyway, that was one of the many things that I found have changed since the last cruise I went on, which has been several years ago due to my some of my physical ailments and issues. Now, a couple other things to make mention of. I got the first video posted yesterday on this channel about special needs cruising, in which I'm using myself as an example in it, folks. I don't mind telling you that, I'm an old fat guy. I've got both hips replaced. I need to replace both knees, and I'm trying to avoid it. I have a bad back. I'm fat. I'm a grumpy old man. No, I'm really not. But my niece and my sister claim I'm a grumpy old man. And I really struggle walking. So because of the struggle walking, that can be a problem on a cruise ship. And if you watch the video, and I'll put a link down in the description down here in the bottom someplace to the video that I posted yesterday. Because anybody that has special needs, it gives you some things that I've learned to do over the years. And the main thing that I learned on this cruise, which was initiated by our friend Bonnie, she sent me a text message about what she does concerning the scooters. And I didn't know anything about scooters, but I ended up renting one in the last 3 days, and boy, what a difference that made. So Bonnie is, of course, Bonnie's always, as always, is here with us. Bonnie, I love you, darling. Yeah, you saved my cruise. That was fabulous. But anyway, it's a video for anybody with special needs, whether you're special needs like I am that just struggle with walking. And yeah, Brad, I'm not talking about your special needs. I'll feed you again in a couple hours. Go sleep. Brat the cat's down on my feet discussing matters. Anyway, obviously, and I mentioned in this, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a physical therapist. So if you're under a doctor's care specifically, obviously listen to your doctor. Don't take my advice on things that I do. I'm pointing out things that I do or have done or did on this cruise to make things a little better for somebody with special needs, coming from myself. And one of the first things most important things is if you have special needs, folks, especially if you're like if you're a sexy senior citizen, don't let your ego get in your way. Don't say, "Oh my God, I can still do that." Check the ego at the door. Decide that you're going to need some help to enjoy your cruise or any other travels you're on, and take some of these ideas and use them. It was well with the buggy, the scooter made such a difference when I got to that. It's the last 3 days of the cruise. What a difference that made. Also, I do things like using wheelchair service in airports, wheelchair service at the port, going on the ship. Anything where you have to stand a lot or walk a lot, I can't do anymore. And I don't want that to stop me from cruising. I've already, basically I stayed away from cruises for 5 years because of the hips and getting them replaced and recovering from that. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd gone on and done more during that period, but I'm learning too. So I share those ideas using myself as an example. And by all means, folks, take it or leave it. But anyway, I'll put the link down there so you guys can watch that if you missed it yesterday. And if you know someone or if you have issues that you might do. That's about wraps it up for today. I'm actually, as far as I know, nothing on my schedule for the next little bit. My niece will be gone, I think, next week. So I've got a lot of pet sitting to do for her for a week or so. And then it looks like she may be going to New Zealand in November after Thanksgiving. So I'm going to have 8 weeks or so that I'll be doing her pet sitting completely, totally while she's gone. But God bless her. She likes to travel too. So anyway, at least we got a situation where we can both keep her business going. My business dies out here in another month or so. It'll be done for the year, which is designed that way. So, and then I can concentrate on cruising. And if any of you have any suggestions for late January, February, early March on a cruise, throw them out. I'll take a look at them, because that's my next targeted getaway time. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys again on Thursday. As always, my little commercial. I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. If you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ship, ports of call, cruises themselves, my interview show is called Chillie Chats. And of course, travel and cruise industry news, which is on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Coming to you from Forest, Virginia, in Bedford County, right outside of Lynchburg. This is Chillie, the Fat Travel Guide. I'll see you next time. Later, y'all.